Boleh,
sir.
If let's say later on you found out my voice lagging due to the network connection, do please let me know immediately. All right, good. So let me share the slide with you. Just wait for a while. Okay. Okay, can you view the slide right now? Boleh tak?
Nampak, Dato', nampak.
Okay, good. So later on, I will actually make use of this class point, another software, okay, to actually communicate with all of you. So before I start my presentation today, I would like you to actually join this class point. So you can use your computer or you can use your handphone, all right? So you can actually just type this, this website. Atau you can just put in the keywords classpoint.atp. So there will be a screen appear here, right, on the right hand side here, di sini. Then you can actually fill out the class code. On top here, there's a class code there. And your name, so you can actually put in your name. Boleh tak? Okay, you can do it right now. Okay, so while I'm presenting, you can actually log in first. Okay, all right. So for today, all right. So this is the topic of your the presentation today. So it's about your FYP1 final year project 1. All right. So this is actually cover the beginning, all right, or the first part of your research work. Okay. If you look at your thesis, actually the content that I'm going to present today is cover the content that you need to include in your chapter 1. All right. So basically, I'll give you an introduction. Okay, what's the research is about, and also the problem statement. Because before starting any research, so you have to identify the problem. Then only you can identify the method and the way in order to solve the problem. So I'm your presenter today. Okay, I'm Dr. Kuan here. I think most of you have actually attended my class before because when I look at your name, it all look familiar to me. All right. Okay. Not many have joined the class point. Okay, only 7. Apa? Okay, belum sampai lagi. So for this today presentation, so these are the learning outcome. Okay, that you need to achieve by the end of this presentation. Hopefully, you are able to obtain all this knowledge so that you can start to proceed your research or your FYP project listening. Right. So the first step, the first learning outcome is to understand the step in the research process. All right. So later on, there are some processes will actually covered by others lecturer or others talk in future. Right. Then for today talk, so I will actually help you how to formulate the research problem. Okay. So once you identify the problem, then you can actually formulate the research question and also the hypothesis. All right. So why we need to have this research question and hypothesis? Because it will help you to go to the next step. Okay, which is to formulate the research objective. Right. Then once you have the research objective, so that means you have the direction, then you'll start your project. Okay. So first, let us look at what is a research di sini. Okay, mungkin ramai dah tahu lah apa itu research. Okay, maybe they have heard of it, but not quite sure. Okay, what it is about. All right. So these are a few definition. Okay, that you can actually easily get it from the web page. So to describe, okay, atau define a research work. So very basic, okay, you can actually define the research as the process of searching for knowledge and understanding on a specific field and an area. Okay, so it's unlike the lecture, so di mana pensyarah dia akan deliver, okay, or the knowledge to you all. So in the research work, you have to identify the problem. So you have to to identify the solution yourself. And through the process of research, so that means you are able to gain some knowledge and understanding lah, okay, about the problem that you are looking at. Okay, so this is the idea of the research di sini lah. Alright. So dalam research ini, in order to reach atau to dapatkan the solution di sini, so that means we have to go through a systematic scientific investigation. So dia ada cara dia lah. Alright, so that means so you have go through this program EC591, okay, for almost 3 years. So that means the knowledge that you have and the skill that you have obtained from the past of your subject kan, so you can apply dalam FYP di sini. Okay, so di mana kamu akan gunakan a systematic scientific investigation lah. So apakah yang consider as systematic scientific investigation is actually cover dalam bahagian methodology. Okay, so in future there will be a talk about the methodology. So di mana kamu akan be introduced, okay, the method, okay, that able to help you, okay, to solve the problem or to identify the solution, okay, for your research work. Okay, then at the end of this research, so you may find out a new conclusion. Okay, tak semestinya a new finding. Maybe your research work have been done before, okay, tetapi mungkin apa yang kamu dapat selepas your research work, kamu akan menambah baikkan. So you will improve the understanding, okay, in that particular area. So itu pun consider as a research, right? Okay. And dalam research ini, okay, so boleh katakan, okay, we try to understand why something happened, okay, and also some of the research it may actually look at, okay, what actually the application, okay, of a product, okay, in your research work. Okay, so that means research dia ada banyak objektif lah, okay, tak semestinya bertumpu to answer the question why di sini ya. So dia juga answer the question how di sini. Okay, so when we look at this research di sini, so basically kita boleh bagi research ni kepada dua bahagian lah, the major category di sini. So the first category is actually we call the basic research atau the fundamental knowledge. Okay, so basically this research, fundamental research is to build up, okay, the knowledge, okay, atau menambah baikkan or improve the understanding lah of a phenomenon. Okay, yang kedua, applied research is actually to look at the application, okay, of certain device ke atau certain method di sini lah. Alright, okay. So if we look at this fundamental research, okay, so in this research is basically dia akan investigate the basic reason, okay, atau principle, okay, behind the occurrence of a particular phenomenon or event. Alright. So for example, okay, jika we talk about the flood event kan yang berlaku, okay, mungkin di Selangor recently. So what are actually the reason behind it? Is it because of the climate change? Okay. Is it because of the water management system yang ada masalah itu? Then through this basic or fundamental, we can actually identify, okay, the reason di sini, right? Okay. So dalam basic research biasanya is actually driven by the pure curiosity, okay. And tujuan kita is actually to expand the knowledge on a specific subject atau disiplin di sinilah. Okay. So it's basically the fundamental to build out the knowledge. Okay, so dalam this fundamental research di sini, so kita ada boleh subdivide kepada dua kategori di sini ya. For example, okay, the first category kita boleh katakan boleh dinamakan sebagai pure research. Okay, so this is a pure research. So it's actually conduct without any specific outcome in mind. Okay, tetapi tujuan dia hanya to provide the advancement of the knowledge. Okay, to improve the existing knowledge lah. Okay, so ini salah satu paper yang saya dapat daripada the website, alright. So dalam paper ini, okay, so it's actually look at this the summary groundwater, okay, bahagian sini ya, the summary groundwater discharge. So apa ini summary groundwater discharge? Mungkin antara kamu tak familiar dengan perkataan ini, okay. This actually refer to the air bawah tanah yang keluar daripada tanah ke dalam ocean. Alright, so that means we call the groundwater discharge into the ocean and is under the ground, so it's considered as summary groundwater discharge. Okay, so this groundwater discharge will actually bawa, okay, mungkin pollutant ke, okay, atau nutrient ke dalam laut. Right. So dia sangat penting untuk the ecological system dalam laut lah. Alright. So that means banyak research have been done in this field kan. Alright. So ada yang study mungkin the chemical content yang keluar daripada groundwater system ini. So ada yang study bagaimana this groundwater akan bergerak dalam sistem inilah. Alright. So in this pure research work, okay, so that means the author have actually come out a new mechanism. Okay, so dia dah discover satu mechanism, okay, cara di mana groundwater discharge dia keluar daripada kawasan pantai lah. Okay, so this new mechanism have not been identified by other researchers before. Okay, so jenis research ini so dia akan menambahkan knowledge, okay, di dalam study of summary groundwater discharge. So kita nama dia jenis research ini sebagai pure research. Okay, so mungkin antara kamu yang akan terlibat lah, okay, untuk improve the knowledge. So that means your research work will be considered as pure research. Okay, and saya dapati semua dah dapatkan title kan, okay, for your FYP1 kan, right? So later on saya akan make a survey okay, to investigate apakah jenis research yang kamu akan jalankan di sini lah. Okay. So the fundamental research juga boleh become a strategy research. Okay, so di mana dalam research ini, so dia akan providing a broad base of knowledge, okay, then help to addressing a specific problem. Okay, so dalam paper ini, okay, contoh yang saya diberikan di sini kan, alright. So author ini, okay, so dia akan look at this groundwater yang discharging into the ocean kan, bersama dengan chemical input to the ocean. So air bawah tanah ini dia juga akan membawa mineral atau nutrient ke dalam laut di sini. Alright. So by knowing the content kan, the content apakah jenis mineral, apakah jenis nutrient yang masukkan dalam laut. So the water resources engineer ke, researcher yang in future ke, mereka dapat evaluate, okay, apakah effect of this discharge into the ocean. Right. So that means you will actually build up the knowledge, okay, of the water quality, okay, summary groundwater discharge dalam field ni lah. Right. So jenis research ini, okay, is considered as strategy research. Okay. Sometimes it's very hard actually to differentiate apa itu consider as pure and strategy lah. But basically these two research is considered as fundamental, di mana dia akan menambah baikkan, okay, the knowledge, okay, atau meningkatkan the understanding, okay, untuk sesuatu field lah di sini. Okay, so kebanyakan dapati okay, pelajar FYP, okay, akan actually terlibat, okay, dalam the apply research instead of fundamental research. But when you further your study, mungkin dalam master level ke atau PhD biasanya research work will be more involved in the fundamental lah. Okay, so if your research is apply research, so dalam apply research ini, so dia aim to find the solution. So kita cuba dapatkan solution to an existing problem. Okay. Alright. So mungkin ada yang terlibat dalam slope failure ke, okay, landslide ke, ada yang terlibat dengan water pollution ke, alright. Then dalam research tersebut kamu cuba dapatkan solution lah untuk menyelesaikan masalah tersebut. Okay. So this kind of research kita nama dia sebagai the apply research. Okay. Then di dalam research ini, okay, so kita akan cuba conduct the works in order to determine the possible use or application of finding of the basic research as well. Okay, so selain daripada menyelesaikan masalah, so kita juga boleh dapatkan cuba find out, okay, apakah kegunaan yang baru, a new application, okay, untuk sesuatu teori yang kita develop lah dalam fundamental research. Okay, so that means you can actually conduct a research step by step lah. Mungkin you start dengan your fundamental, then only you apply it. Okay, proceed to the apply research. Atau you can actually make use of the fundamental research work from others researcher itu. Okay, then you try to make use of that knowledge, then apply in your research. Okay, and that kind of research kita consider as apply research di sini. Okay. So saya bagikan dah letakkan di sini ya salah satu example, okay, to consider as the applied research. Okay, so dalam paper ni, okay, the author will actually look at one of the method, kita nama dia sebagai permeable reactive barrier. Alright, so this permeable reactive barrier is satu jenis method, okay, di mana dia digunakan, okay, untuk mengatasi masalah contamination atau pencemaran air groundwater. Alright, so that means author ni dia akan apply this method in order to solve a problem, okay, a problem due to the groundwater contamination by petroleum hydrocarbon. Okay, so that is a very specific contaminant lah. Okay, so that means jenis research ini kita nama dia sebagai applied research. Right. Okay, so this is the broad category lah. Okay, so by starting the research, so you can actually identify apakah research yang kamu akan jalankan. So either is a fundamental atau the applied research di sini. Okay, so this is another tajuk atau topik, okay, that relate to the applied research. So di mana author ni will look at the vegetation's concrete technology. So that means dia actually find out, okay, try to develop atau invent, okay, satu cara yang baru, okay, using the vegetation concrete technology, okay, untuk menyelesaikan masalah of slope failure. Okay, so that means dia akan gunakan this technology untuk menambahkan, okay, the protection of the landslide lah, okay, di kawasan tersebut lah. Alright, so this kind of research also can be considered as the applied research di sini. Okay, so so sebelum saya proceed to the next subtopic, so saya nak actually run out with some of the survey with you all. Okay, so since all of you have already got your title, okay, so I want you to actually look at the title, okay, and give me, okay, and identify apakah research yang kamu akan jalankan lah in your FYP1, right? Okay, so if you look at the screen sekarang, alright, sepatutnya kita ada 45 orang pelajar di sini ya, tetapi hanya 22 orang yang join the class point. So yang baru masuk, pelajar yang baru masuk, so saya nak kamu actually using your handphone atau your computer, okay, can you type in this web page, okay, class point, atau kamu just key in the keyword, okay, the classpoint.app, okay, then dia akan link kepada this screen. So saya nak kamu isikan the class code yang diberikan di atas ini, okay. Boleh tak? Okay, then letakkan nama kamu. So hanya 23 partisipan di sini ya. Saya harap semua boleh participate di sini. Boleh? So I give you a minute, sir. So siapa yang baru masuk tu, can you do it now? Okay, join the class point app di sini. We have supposed to have 43 participant. Sebenarnya I think ada 50 lebih kalau tak salah saya. Okay, almost like 60 of you. Oh, 53. Yeah, thanks, Jamril. Yep, right. Alright, dah ada 30 orang. So almost lah ada 10 orang lagi. Yang mana yang tak join tu, boleh tak join sekarang? Yep. Alright. Because I found out in the past, okay, mungkin pelajar dah just listen to my presentation. So later on after the presentation, maybe they can't remember what actually I have presented. So I think the best way is actually while I'm doing the presentation, okay, so I want you, okay, to look at your topic as well. Because last semester semua ramai pelajar yang belum dapatkan topik lagi lah. Okay, unlike this semester, right? Okay, good. Okay. So kita ada 38 pelajar di sini. Okay. So sekarang saya nak you all, okay, look at your this class point di sini ya. Okay, look at this class point and fill up, okay, the answer di sini. Okay, so you by looking at your this your project title, okay, so you try to identify apakah jenis research yang kamu nak jalankan di sini. Okay. So I believe most of you will actually conduct this apply research lah. Okay. Yes. Kalau yang tak sure tu, you can letak tak sure lah. Not sure pun boleh. Tak ada masalah. Okay. Ada 4 orang pelajar lagi yang belum jawab di sini. We supposed to have 39 participant. Okay, saya akan closekan the survey lah. Okay, so looking at this one, okay, so kita ada 3 pelajar, okay, yang actually conduct this pure research works. Okay, boleh saya dapatkan title of Amiru? Amiru, may I know what's the title that you are doing right now? Amiru, are you there? Ada tak Amiru? Atau Michelle, ada tak?
Ada, sir.
Yes, what title actually you are doing right now, sir?
Saya rasa saya salah tekan tuh.
Sepatutnya?
Maybe not sure.
You are not sure? Okay.
Yeah.
So what title you are doing right now sekarang?
Behavior of high strength concrete column strengthened with different carbon fiber reinforced polymer strip configuration.
Alright, okay. So that means you want to actually using a new material lah to strengthen the concrete kan? So basically this is considered as the application. Alright, so you apply. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so because I wonder what kind of this the fundamental research work that you are going to do. So untuk yang siapa yang pilih B di sini, okay, boleh saya dapat title Muhammad Nabil Nabil? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what topic you are doing sekarang?
Investigating the effectiveness of IBS in reducing construction waste in Malaysian construction industry.
What is IBS?
IBS is industrialized building system.
Okay, so basically this title to me is also considered application lah. So because you are using a method to improve the construction management. All right.
I see.
Okay, all right. Okay. So I think, okay, if you look at the survey here, okay, mostly is actually choosing the 4 lah. Okay, yang ada 4 orang yang tak pasti lagi. Saya nak tanya siapa ni. Nurul Izati? Ada tak?
Ada, sir.
Yes, yes. Kenapa kamu tak sure?
Saya tak sure kategori mana Sir.
Yeah. So apa tajuk yang kamu nak jalankan for this your FYP1?
A study on high strength concrete of silica fume as cement replacement material.
Okay, so you are doing the material engineering lah. Okay. So again, sir, you want to look at the performance, okay. So boleh katakan consider as the strategy research lah, because you want to know the more knowledge about this the strength, okay, of specific concrete lah material.
Okay, thank you Sir.
So, all right, okay. Then let me continue on the presentation today. Okay, so once you identify apakah jenis research work that you are going to do, either the fundamental atau applied research work, okay, then you have to choose apakah method to conduct your research. Okay, so this is very important lah. So that means you have to choose the right tool, okay, alat yang sesuai lah untuk jalankan research kamu. Okay, so the research method can be broadly divided into two categories. Okay, satu we call the quantitative research, okay, and satu is qualitative research lah. For most engineering works, actually, we are actually using the first method, okay, the quantitative research work, okay, and some of the research may have considered both method di sini, so we call the mixed research, right? Okay, so dalam quantitative research method di sini, alright. Okay, so kita akan jalankan a systematic investigation, okay, of a observable phenomenon, okay. So that means we are looking at the performance, okay, of this problem, okay, melalui eksperimen, okay, melalui numerical modeling, okay, gunakan komputer atau menggunakan the mathematic techniques lah di sini, okay, termasuk the statistical analysis di sini. Alright. So this kind of the research method, so kita consider as a quantitative research method. Right, okay. So dalam method ni, so kita nak cuba nak dapatkan the relationship between the variables, okay, and from the relationship itu kita dapat discover what's the cause of the phenomenon. Right, okay. So later on, you need to identify the variables, okay. So that means the factor, okay, that actually contribute to a certain phenomenon that actually make it to happen. All right. So that means we try to get the relationship di sini. All right, then how to get the relationship? Okay, using the systematic scientific method di sini lah. Right. So in this method, the researcher will have to analyze the data. Okay, then normally they will present the result dalam bentuk table atau graph lah. Okay, then from that they are able to drive the conclusion or the finding. Okay, and this research method have been widely used in the engineering research study. Okay, so under this quantitative research method, so we can actually subdivide into four categories. All right, so the first we call the descriptive research, second we call the correlation research, and the third causal comparative research, and the last one experimental research. Okay, so dalam descriptive research di sini, so the researcher will try to seek to describe the current status okay, of an identified variables, okay, and or prove systematic information about a phenomenon. Okay, so for example, you have to identify these the phenomenon. So mostly this phenomenon is considered as a problem lah di sini. Okay, so for example, dalam tajuk research paper ni, so the author actually look at the water crisis and also the drought and also the climate change. Right, so they want to look at this tiga phenomenon ini, okay, of its current status and also the relationship antara ketiga di sini, okay, di satu kawasan di United States lah, alright, okay. So dia akan guna, saya tak pasti apakah jenis because I'm not going into deep this paper, okay. So dia akan gunakan this site investigation ke, okay, collect the rainfall data ke. So from that, they are able to describe, okay, the current status of the water crisis ke, drought ke, atau climate change, okay, pada satu kawasan yang tertentu di sini. Okay. So the second type of the quantitative research we call the correlation research. This correlation research. Okay. So dalam method ini, so the researcher will attempt, okay, to determine the relationship, the extent relationship between two or more variables. Okay, so example di sini, okay, so this author dia akan look at this the relationship antara the monsoon precipitation and the pumping. Okay, these two factor kan, to what? To the change in groundwater storage di India. Right. So that means dalam correlation research ini, so the author or the researcher will try to get the relationship antara the variables and with the phenomenon. Okay, so dalam case ini, the phenomenon is the groundwater storage, and the variable that going to look at is the monsoon precipitation and pumping rate. The type of this method in quantitative research works is the causal comparative research. Okay, so dalam method ini, so the author will actually cuba establish the cause and effect relationship, okay, antara variable. Alright, so example di sini, okay, so this author dia akan look at the inference effect on the plant diversity on slope stability. Okay, so di sini dia ada dua variables. Satu is plant diversity, satu lagi is slope stability. So dia nak tahu the cause effect relationship lah. So jika kita dapat menanam, so we are able to cover an area with multiple kind of plant, will that be able to improve the slope stability or not? Okay, so what are the relationship of these two variables? Right? So this kind of the research method, okay, is to find out the causal comparative atau cause effect relationship. So kita nama dia sebagai causal comparative research lah. Right? Okay. Then the last one, okay, is quite easy to identify. So kita nama dia sebagai experimental research. Okay. So experimental research, dia juga actually try to find out the cause effect relationship, okay, atau correlation relationship, okay, antara a group of variable. Tetapi dalam experimental research di sini, so dia akan more specified lah. So dia akan gunakan cara eksperimen. Alright, so kita nama dia sebagai experiment research work. Okay, so dalam research ini, so the author will actually conduct an experiment study, okay, to look at the cause-effect relationship, okay, antara these two variable, density and viscosity, okay, dengan the macro dispersion, okay, dalam porous medium lah, okay, alright. Okay. So selain daripada quantitative research, okay, I believe some of you maybe have to use the qualitative research method in your research work, okay, especially for those yang actually ambil topik CEPM lah, okay, construction management. So di mana dalam qualitative research method ini, okay, so kita akan gunakan the scientific investigation juga, okay, tetapi kita akan apply on kita nama ni sebagai non-quantifiable phenomenon. Okay, so di mana kita tak boleh quantify. Okay, so artinya, okay, quantify that means kita boleh ukur lah. Okay, either kita boleh ukur the force, okay, the load, okay, the magnitude of the rainfall event ke, okay, the concentration of a pollution ke, so that are considered as can be quantified. Okay, so under the qualitative kita akan conduct the investigation kepada this phenomenon yang tidak dapat di-quantify lah, okay, termasuk experience, okay, termasuk intentions of understanding, okay, of a particular phenomenon. Right. So for example, if you are looking this understanding of the student in certain method in education juga kan, so sometimes you are unable to quantify it. So this kind of research method kita nama dia sebagai qualitative research method. Right. Okay. Then normally this kind of research method dia lebih sesuai, suitable, okay, about the why and how question of a human experience. Alright. So basically, this research method have been widely used dalam social science lah. Okay. Tetapi some of the engineering study, so kita juga perlukan, okay, jenis research method ini. Right. Okay. So the tujuan of this method is actually to know the meaning, okay, nature and also dynamic of a particular phenomenon or situation. Okay, so salah satu contoh, okay, di mana kamu boleh apply the qualitative research method is, okay, for example, jika kamu nak tahu the attitude, so normally the attitude of a construction worker kan, so the attitude you tak boleh quantify, okay, so kamu hanya boleh evaluate dia dari mungkin level, okay, strong ke atau weak sahaja. So you tak boleh katakan dia attitude dia 1 ke 2, 3 di sini, okay. So dalam paper ni, okay, the author actually have to apply the qualitative research method, okay, to look at this attitude of the construction worker about the safety as such lah. Okay. Alright, okay. So dalam table ni, okay, so saya dah bahagikan kepada this quantitative and qualitative method di sini. Okay, apakah perbezaan antara kedua-dua method di sini? Alright, okay. So you can have a look later on lah. Alright. Okay. So sekarang saya nak conduct another survey to you all. Okay. So saya nak kamu look at your research title again. Okay. And fikirkan mungkin your supervisor already discussed with you. Okay. Then you know what kind of method that you are going to use. Okay. For those yang belum lagi discuss with your supervisor, maybe just based on your own understanding, okay, cuba identify apakah research method that you are going to apply, okay, for your FYP project ni. Right? So saya akan open the choice di sini ya. Alright. Okay. So you should be able to answer right now lah. So I will give you about a minute, okay, untuk pilih yang mana satu method yang kamu akan gunakan for your research work. Oh, ramai yang apply the experiments in your works. Ada ramai yang belum jawab lagi ya. Only 24 of you yang respond di sini. Oh, ada yang satu yang descriptive. Yep. Another 9 students. Where are you? Okay, mungkin yang tak dapat access the internet di sini. Okay, so we have 31 of you that have actually has responded. Alright, so let me close the submission. Ada yang nak? Okay, ada yang satu lagi. Okay, so I'll close it. Okay, so kalau refer to this bar chart di sini, okay, boleh dapati 75%, okay, 3/4 yang antara kamu yang akan use the experiments, okay, to conduct your research work. Alright, okay. Ada yang seorang yang gunakan the descriptive method, Muhammad Nabil. Okay, saya dah tanya kamu kan, Nabil?
Sure.
Yes. So kenapa kamu katakan your research method you are going to use the descriptive? So apa phenomenon yang kamu nak investigate?
Saya investigate effectiveness
Effectiveness of what?
of IBS.
Of the IBS lah.
In reducing construction waste.
Okay, alright, okay, boleh. Can considered as descriptive. Okay, the performance lah. So you are actually want to describe the performance lah of this method in dealing with the construction waste. Alright. So ada 4 yang gunakan the cause effect. Alright. Okay. So boleh saya dapat Hamzah. Hamzah, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So kamu nak dapatkan cause effect, okay, antara 2 variables lah, okay, in your research work. So apakah cara kamu nak dapatkan the relationship kalau bukan daripada eksperimen?
Saya nak kenal pasti relationship antara stabilized peat soil and its effect to the mechanical properties performance.
Okay, so you are going to use a computer program ke untuk?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So that is the computational method lah, right? Bukan experiment lah. Okay, good. And sometimes actually, nowadays these numerical models, okay, some of these advanced software, so actually you can use it sebagai salah satu experiment tool. Okay, so you boleh jalankan eksperimen instead of dalam lab. So you can actually conduct this experiment in a computer environment using the software lah, right? Okay, so walaupun dia bukan consider experimental method, tetapi cara dia nak apply di sini dia lebih kurang sama lah. Okay, cuma satu is physically, okay, satu is numerically lah di sini. So yang Amiro, bagaimana dengan kamu? Yes. So bukan Amiro Fahan, adik Amiro Ilham ke? Oh, yang pilih jawapan C di sini, Amiro. Saya nak tahu apakah tajuk kamu dan cara kamu nak conduct your experiment. Ya.
Saya pun salah tekan saya.
Patutnya
D saya.
kamu?
D. Experimental.
Okay, so apakah tajuk yang kamu akan jalankan?
CBR value for geopolymer stabilized soil.
Okay, dalam geotechnical engineering lah.
Yes.
So you want to identify what? The cause effect relationship ke atau correlation relationship?
Sure sir.
Not sure. Okay, doctor. Alright. Woei?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
My title for FYP criteria selection of sustainable material in infrastructure project.
okay, so cara yang nak dapatkan solution tu?
Saya kena compare antara sustainable material ni dengan conventional material lah, sir, untuk buat infrastructure punya project.
Okay, so bagaimana kamu nak make comparison? So you have to collect the material and conduct the experiment ke?
I think so that we must compare between conventional and sustainable with experiment.
Oh, okay, so it's
Boleh.
okay, mungkin dia bukan sangat the cause effect okay, tujuan dia, so dia more like a descriptive lah, so you nak dapatkan yang mana lebih baik di sini.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Ada yang 3 lagi yang buat the qualitative research work. Okay, Patrick, what kind of method that you use? Yes.
Hi sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Boleh dengar sir?
Boleh.
My title is Successful Criteria for Pinang Bridge. Successful criteria for Pinang Bridge.
Okay, kenapa dia tak boleh? What kind of criteria that you are looking at?
Yang bincang hari tu sir is more to road construction criteria for road construction, successful road construction of Pinang Bridge.
Okay, so you are actually evaluate the success, the construction. I don't
Yeah,
really.
what makes a successful road construction?
Okay, it's due to the human factor ke you are looking at?
Yeah, a few factors. Can say, sir.
Okay. Kalau if actually relate to the human factors, that means yes, you have to use based on the qualitative method lah.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Rachel?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So apakah tajuk kamu?
Saya buat FEA of Mechanical Performances of ECC with CRS Partial Fine Aggregate Replacement.
So it's about the geotechnical engineering, isn't it?
Structural.
Structure. So, kenapa tak boleh quantify? I think when I look at this, listen to your project title, it's more like you are conducting an experiment in the lab. No.
Guna software, sir.
Okay, guna software. So I believe this should be considered as this cost effect atau correlation study lah, instead of qualitative. Right?
Okay, sir.
Because you are looking at the performance of certain behavior of structure, kan? And that actually behavior can be quantified. So dia tak patut consider as the qualitative. Right?
Okay, sir.
And siapa nama pelajar ni 2019 848924.
I'm Dr.
Siapa nama? Abdul
Badrul Amin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, Badrul, yes.
Aha.
Apa tajuk kamu?
I supposed to do like the drainage system based on the MASMA.
Okay, so boleh quantify ke drainage system tu?
Dia by using time area method.
Okay, so you are actually evaluate the performance of the drainage system, kan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be considered as quantitative, bukan qualitative.
Okay.
Alright. Okay. Qualitative basically dia involved dengan human factors lah. Okay, for example, just now kan saya bagi tahu example yang kamu berikan tu, the attitude lah. Okay, of certain people kan. Okay, alright. Itu saja. Thank you semua yang jawab di sini. Okay, so saya akan teruskan. Okay, so selain daripada the quantitative and qualitative, so kita juga boleh combine the two lah. Okay, so that means kita boleh actually conduct the quantitative research first. Okay, to evaluate a phenomenon. Okay, how serious a phenomenon is. Okay. Then later on kita mungkin akan cuba gunakan the qualitative method to understand the reason behind it. Kalau reason dia is due to the human factor lah. Okay. So dalam jenis research ni kita boleh mix up the two method together. Okay. So seterusnya saya akan sambungkan dengan the step how to start a research. Okay. So di sini, okay. So saya dah list down, okay, 10 step di sini ya. Step 1 sampai step 10. Alright. So untuk hari ini saya akan cover the first 6 steps sajalah. Alright. Okay. So the rest, okay, how to collect the data, analyze the data will be covered. Okay, in the talk in future. Alright. Okay. So untuk start your research work, so basically kita perlu start dengan identify the problem. Okay. So bagaimana kita nak identify? So first kita perlu answer this question. So what is the problem? Okay. And lepas tu, why the problem is important? Okay. So why we need to solve this problem? Alright. So di sini masa kamu nak tuliskan identify the problem, okay. So pastikan okay. So you are writing something, okay, for your panel. Alright. So that means when you identify the problem, pastikan you write it down, okay. And the audience, okay, is your panel, okay. So pastikan mereka akan faham kenapa kamu nak jalankan projek ni. So it's very important di sini, alright, okay. And also when you actually beritahu what is the problem di sini, okay. So pastikan kamu document is assistant to provide the proof, okay. So sometimes I found out the student, mungkin dia rasakan, okay, they have identified a problem, okay, then write down in their thesis, okay, tetapi mereka forgot, okay, to provide the proof, okay. Walaupun you rasakan sangat penting, for example, the flood problem, kan? So, kamu juga perlu, walaupun semua orang dah tahu, okay, flood is a problem, okay, tetapi kamu masih perlu memberikan the proof, okay, di mana dia berlaku, okay. So, nanti saya akan tunjukkan di mana kamu boleh dapatkan all this proof lah, right, okay. So, dalam the problem statement atau the paragraph that you to write down the problem, okay. So, dalam statement itu, kamu sepatutnya perlu summarize the problem, okay, from the viewpoint of the reader atau the viewpoint from the public lah, okay. Kalau semua orang rasa dia itu yang salah satu problem, kan? So memanglah, okay. So you can actually document it, right? Then you have to provide the proof, okay. So how frequent, okay, adakah dia sentiasa berlaku? Kalau the frequency, if this problem is very rare, okay, mungkin dia jarang berlaku, okay, then mungkin dia, walaupun dia satu problem, tetapi mungkin dia tak sesuai lah, okay, or not worth it to investigate, okay, because, and also how severity, also very important. Maybe this is a problem, but it's just involve a very small amount of population or community sahaja, so maybe dia juga tidak penting, okay, untuk di-investigate lah. Right. Okay. So once you identify the problem and you have to document its frequency, so that you have to prove that, so problem ini memang dia sangat serious lah, alright. Okay. Then baru kamu perlu justify, okay, kenapa kamu perlu investigate lah, conduct the research work, alright, in order to solve this problem. Okay. So pastikan, okay, so even the problem is obvious, okay, you must state it clearly, okay, in detail to your readers, okay. So sometimes the student mungkin dia rasa pensyarah dia lebih faham daripada dia lah, so dia tak go into detail, okay. So you always have a thinking that, okay, try to state your problem clear, okay. So because some of the panel, okay, mungkin dia tak familiar dengan phenomenon tersebut, okay. So kalau kamu tak jelas, tak explain dengan jelasnya, so that means you will not actually get attention of your panel lah atau reader di sini. Alright. Okay. So di sini, okay, saya dah tunjukkan satu example di sini, okay, from the work of my student, okay, cara kamu nak actually write your problem statement di sini, alright. So dalam FYP project ini, okay, so my student will actually investigate satu method, okay. So method ini nama dia sebagai double vertical impermeables barrier, okay. So dia akan gunakan method ini untuk control the pollutant transport in aquifer. So aquifer means the lapisan tanah yang mengandungi the groundwater. Okay. So saya boleh buat satu sketch di sini yang simple di sini. Alright. Okay. So katakan this is the ground surface. Okay. So jika berlaku pencemaran, okay, for example daripada kawasan landfill, kan. So pencemaran itu dia akan, okay, masuk ke dalam groundwater system. So dia akan dibawa dengan groundwater. Okay. So dia akan contaminate lah kawasan di hilir, the downstream of this groundwater system. So that means kita actually boleh menghalangkan pergerakan of this pollutant dengan construct this vertical wall, atau kita nama dia sebagai vertical impermeable barrier lah di sini. Okay. So untuk start this problem, okay. So my student have first, okay. So dia dah actually stated that, okay, so the groundwater resources is very important in Malaysia. Okay, okay, kenapa kita nak protect the groundwater system? Okay, because it's very important water resources in Malaysia. Tetapi this groundwater resources also exposed to the groundwater pollution. Okay, kenapa groundwater will be polluted? Okay, because due to the population growth, okay, economic growth, okay, urbanization, and also industrialization. Alright, and this kind of human activity, kan, so dia akan menyebabkan the pollution of the groundwater become worse. Okay, so dalam problem statement untuk project ni, okay, so that means so my student, okay, have actually highlighted, okay, the problem, okay, the importance of the groundwater and the problem of this pollution di sini. Okay. So this basically is actually summarize the point, the problem lah, from the viewpoint of the reader atau public lah, alright, okay. Then seterusnya, okay, so dia perlu provide the evidence, okay, kenapa this groundwater pollution happen, okay. So di sini, okay, so dia dah actually refer to certain research paper, journal paper, okay, yang discuss atau study about the groundwater pollution, okay. So that means kamu katakan the groundwater pollution happen kan, so di mana dia berlaku, okay. So kamu perlu provide the proof lah. Okay, so the proof it can come from the newspaper or it can come from any journal paper di sini lah. Okay, so di sini, so dia dah actually highlighted, okay, the pollution due to the agricultural activity di sini, okay, daripada the first paper, okay. Lepas tu dia dah bagi example, okay, pollution daripada landfill site, okay, daripada paper ni, alright. Then also dia dah provide another proof about the severity atau frequency lah, okay, daripada 1989 to 2014 di sini lah, for the past 25 years lah, apa yang berlaku di Kelantan, okay, so di mana the agricultural activity have actually contributed to the groundwater pollution, right, okay, so this is very important, so biasa when you talk about the problem, okay, always you have to document is assistant, okay, di mana dia berlaku, bila dia berlaku, okay, how serious, okay, keadaan tu, okay. Then at the end, okay, so you have to justify, okay, why this problem need to be investigated, okay. So di sini, okay, so pelajar saya dia dah tunjukkan di sini, if let's say, so dia katakan, if let's say the groundwater contaminated, once it being contaminated, so dia ambilkan masa yang sangat panjang to clean it up. Okay, so it's better to protect it. Okay, once it's contaminated, susah kita nak restore balik lah. Okay, the water quality di sini. So that means kita perlu provide a proactive measure. Okay, so salah satu proactive measure is to apply the double vertical wall lah atau impermeable medium di sini. Oh, sorry ya. Okay, di sini. Right. So you nampak tak? Okay. So this is the flow how you actually deliver your idea. Okay. So first you bagi tahu the problem. Okay. Then you bagi tahu the proof of your problem. Okay. How serious dia, frequency dia, right? Then later on at the end kamu perlu justify lah. Okay. Then you bawa masuk. Okay. Tujuan, the objective of your research work. Okay. Untuk selesaikan masalah ni. Okay. So this is basically how you actually build up or develop your problem statement di sini. Okay, so okay, how you actually organize your idea, okay, to write out your problem statement. Okay, so ini salah satu example yang saya always tell my student lah. Okay, so you can actually explore your idea broadly. Okay, so lepas tu, okay, develop the idea. Okay, your sub idea, you can actually getting narrow. So that means you summarize the problem in the viewpoint of the public. So it's actually the idea is very broad. Okay. Then kamu akan fokus lah. Okay. Then finally kamu akan try to focus this problem to the topic of your research work. Okay. So that means how to justify, okay, the need of this research work lah to solve the problem. Okay. So di sini saya tunjukkan berapa resources okay, di mana kamu boleh dapatkan this document, the assistant of your problem, okay, and also to identify the severity and also the frequency lah, okay. So one of the resources is actually the newspaper, alright. Right. So tak semestinya, okay, problem ini must happen in Malaysia or you only can refer to the problem in Malaysia. Some of these problem, for example, the flood problem, dia bukan berlaku di Malaysia sahaja. So that means kamu boleh juga refer to the flood event in others country as well lah. Tak semestinya in Malaysia, okay. But I will say that, okay, maybe you can actually look at abroad, okay, in internationally, okay, then you can narrow it down, okay, this problem, okay, into the Malaysia, okay, situation. Okay. So selain daripada newspaper, okay, so kamu juga boleh refer to the journal article, okay. So dalam journal article, okay, if you can look at this maybe in the introduction part, bahagian introduction. So di mana, okay, author ni dia akan, okay, describe, okay, of the problem, okay, in his study, okay. So in the description tu dia akan specify the problem yang dia nak study lah, okay. Daripada situ, okay, so kamu boleh juga identify the problem, okay, for that particular area, alright. Okay. So jika author dalam paper itu dia cite problem daripada another paper, so saya nak you all, okay, look for the original paper, okay, di mana that original paper that reported this problem, okay, bukan refer to the author that cite from others, cite the problem for others researcher. So you must actually find out, okay, the original paper and cite the source, okay, from that original paper. All right. Okay. Then another resources, actually you can refer to the authorities web page. All right, di sini. So for example, okay, this is the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Okay, so dalam authority ni, so dia akan report lah, okay, masalah, okay, yang berlaku, okay, di United States lah. So this Environmental Protection Agency, so dia lebih kurang sama dengan our Jabatan Alam Sekitar lah, okay. So di mana dia akan look at, okay, the pollution problem, okay, di United States lah, okay. So in Malaysia, so some of the authority web page yang you boleh refer termasuk the Jabatan Alam Sekitar ke, okay, the JPS ke, Pengairan dan Saliran ke, that related to the water resources management lah. Okay, dan seterusnya saya nak you all, okay, based on your research title, saya nak kamu cuba identify the problem, okay, that you are trying to solve in your study. Okay, so boleh tak? Okay, just state a short answer. Okay, ada apakah problem yang kamu cuba nak solvekan lah, okay, in your research work di sini. Okay, so boleh kamu letakkan jawapan di sini. Maybe just provide a keyword. Okay. Okay, the other strength. Okay. Correct measurement. Okay, slope stability. Okey ya, saya akan close out. Ada yang masih nak jawab ke? Okey ya, saya ada lagi ya. Alright. Saya akan tunggu siap lagi. Alright, okay. Saya akan tutup lah, okay, untuk these questions. So let us look at some of the problem that given by you all. Alright. So first, saya akan look at the last person lah. Siapa? Nazli Azhar.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Apakah problem that you think that that drive your research work?
Saya nak cari parameter untuk yang sesuai untuk remove.
Suara kamu terputus, lagging a bit. Okay, so by looking at this one, so you are looking at this landfill leachate kan? Okay, so masalah di sini kamu nak remove the organic contaminants lah. Okay, so that means di sini masalah is actually the contamination, okay, daripada kawasan landfill tersebut lah, right? So that contamination termasuk the organic contaminants. Alright, okay. So that means the masalah di sini, okay, is not the removal. Removal that means cara kamu nak selesaikan lah masalah tersebut. Boleh dapat, Nazri?
Okay, dapat sir. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Amil boleh estimate of concrete waste from construction?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Kenapa kamu nak estimate the concrete waste from constructions?
To avoid wastage.
Yes. Okay. So that means kamu di sini the problem may be due to the environmental problem lah. So there's a lot of concrete wastage. Okay. So di mana wastage ini akan mencemarkan alam sekitar lah. Mungkin we need more landfill area untuk simpankan all this construction waste kan. Okay. So di sini kamu boleh estimate, mungkin you boleh buat solution.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Yang Shano yang ultimate bearing capacity saya tak begitu faham. Shano.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Ultimate bearing capacity of stone column reinforced foundation for soft soil improvement.
Okay. So that means apakah masalah di sini ya? Boleh identify?
The soft soil.
Yes. Sebenarnya the masalah should be the soft soil. So kawasan itu mungkin tak sesuai untuk development atau construction kan. So you want to improve the soil's strength kan. So the problem should be the soft soil lah, right? Okay. So di mana kamu boleh identify kawasan yang mana ada soft soil ke? Okay. So mungkin dari segi cost dia ke? Okay. Kalau kamu tak improve dia kan? Okay. Atau cara lain mungkin akan lebih mahal lah. So cara ini lebih murah ke? Okay, more cost effective lah di sini. So we have this. Syamil, property of composite. Apa yang kamu want to find? Yes, what you want to find out? Property of composite. Is it a problem?
What the mechanical properties of composite exposed to elevated temperature?
I don't really get you. So what you actually want to look at is structures.
Structures.
Okay. So what's the problem? Do you have any idea? That actually drive you to actually to look at this. Ada idea? Tak ada. Okay, never mind. Dayang, remover of copper. Apa yang kamu nak cari di sini? Remove of copper. Oh.
Remove copper from synthetic wastewater, sir.
From what?
Synthetic wastewater.
Okay, so you are actually looking at the wastewater treatment lah, betul tak?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, so the problem may be the efficiency of the treatment plant lah. Okay, mungkin the wastewater treatment plant dia tak effective kan, so that means there will be a contamination happen lah of that treatment plant. So that should be your problem, bukan removal of copper. Okay, so removal is your tujuan lah. Okay, the copper. Atau di sini you boleh katakan the cost of removing is very high lah. Right, so you want to find out a cheaper or more economic way, okay, to actually to remove the copper dalam wastewater itu. So the masalah is actually the cost. Okay, so that would be your masalah. Okay, bukan removal of copper di sini lah. Okay, I think some of you able to find out the problem. Okay, some of you unable to do it. Right. So that means you have to actually maybe later on lah. Mungkin this is just the first week. So lepas kamu discuss dengan your supervisor, so maybe you are able to identify lah. Atau another suggestion to you all is maybe you can get the related paper, journal paper itu. So dapatkan idea daripada researcher yang lain lah. Okay, bagaimana mereka identify the problem. Okay, maybe you can make use of that. Okay, atau you can give you the idea. Okay, to be your the problem statement. Okay, in your research work as well. Okay, then seterusnya. Okay, so once you actually identify the problem, okay, so that means kita perlu provide, okay, the literature review. Then kita nak search in the past, adakah other researcher ke have looked at the same problem before not? Okay, so kalau ada, apa yang mereka look at, okay, so what method they are using, okay, so those are considered under the literature review atau review the literature. Okay, so that means we have to collect the background information lah of your research work. Okay, termasuk the theoretical background, okay, of your study. Okay, all right. Okay, so basically this information you can get it from this the textbook atau journal articles. Okay, some of the journal articles they start with this keywords review. Okay, so kamu cuba carikan journal article yang berkaitan dengan review lah, that related to your study. So dalam paper tersebut, so dia akan beritahu kamu, okay, so apa yang berlaku in the past, okay, siapa yang conduct the study, okay, apa yang mereka buat, okay, sebelum ini, okay. So from that, it will give you a broad idea, okay. So bahagian mana yang kamu perlu proceed lah, okay, for your FYP project di sini, right, okay. So from this review paper, okay, so kamu boleh dapatkan the current developments, okay, of your study, okay, and also dalam review paper ni, normally the author will actually identify the limit and also the gap lah. Okay. Tetapi jika kamu tak dapat review paper, okay, untuk bidang yang kamu nak study itu, then you have to collect a series of the journal paper. So normally saya akan encourage student saya explore journal paper yang published in the past 5 years lah. Kalau boleh lah. Because most of these engineering research paper, so dia dah banyak update in the past 5 years. Kalau boleh. Then daripada paper tersebut, cuba identify the contribution of your study in order to fill in the gap in the knowledge. So bahagian sini yang paling susah lah, bagaimana kamu nak dapatkan gaps. So bahagian yang belum study by other researchers in the past. So bahagian sini, untuk dapatkan the theoretical background, the developments, of the study, dalam field tersebut, all of this is considered under literature review. So that is a step 2 that you need to conduct di sini, right? So kenapa kita nak conduct this literature review? So kita cuba nak dapatkan the research gap, for your statement, for your research work. So apa itu research gap? So research gap boleh refer to what is missing, apa yang kekurangan lah, dalam topik kamu yang nak investigate ini, right? Right. So di sini, the research gap can be categorized into 3 jenis. So that means, mungkin in the past, so result yang dapati daripada researcher lain dia tidak sesuai, inadequacy ke atau ada limitation dia lah. Alright. Mungkin research yang conduct in the past tu mungkin dia tak ada alat, the new technology, so mungkin ada limitation, dalam research tersebut. So normally you can get this information at the end of the paper. So dalam conclusion of each paper kan, so at the end the author will actually highlight, apakah limitation, in their research work. So that can be a gap, for you to further your investigation atau your study di sini lah. Mungkin daripada paper yang kamu baca, kamu akan dapati ada 2 author dia memberikan, finding yang conflicting, berbeza. So kamu boleh conduct, mungkin kamu boleh design, another new experiment and compare the result of the 2 lah. Then you come out with your own finding atau conclusion. So bahagian sini boleh consider as your research gap as well, right? And the third one, to extend the idea, in a new direction. So mungkin kamu boleh provide a new application lah, of the finding in the past lah from other researcher. So all these 3 can be considered as the research gap, for your research work. So dalam chapter 1, so you need to provide the literature's review as well, selain daripada dalam chapter 2. So chapter 2 kita akan provide in a more complex and good understanding of the literature review that relate to your research topic. Tetapi dalam chapter 1, so kita akan buat, we call it the selective review. So di mana dalam chapter 1 kita perlu memberikan background of your research, so that the reader atau panel, understand, apa yang kamu akan buat lah, dalam topik ini, atau dalam final project ini. So pastikan your literature review di sini dia bukan copy and paste of the information daripada paper. So that means you have to reorganize the content. Mungkin kamu perlu combine, the idea of different paper itu, atau you boleh groupkan idea yang sama dalam satu paragraph lah. Alright, then you have to provide your own understanding di situ lah, argument di situ. So bukan copy and paste sahaja. So untuk cara untuk buat literature review, so I think next week there will be another lecturer lah, will cover this part. Alright, so untuk conduct your literature review, so kamu boleh actually make use of the resources yang diberikan daripada library kita. Alright, so if you go to our library website, so you go to this bahagian digital collection tu, so kita ada online database, so kita ada bahagian e-journal, Okay, mungkin kamu boleh refer to the thesis in the past juga untuk conduct your literature review. Okay, or idea bagaimana literature review can be made di sini. Okay, so untuk conduct your literature review, okay, so kamu perlukan this tool, okay, to do the citation. Okay, so there are two type of this software that you can use. Okay, satu is EndNote, okay, satu is Mendeley. Okay, so Mendeley is actually open software, so it's free of charge. EndNote also free, you can download from our library. Kedua-dua, okay, can be used. So you akan install dalam your Microsoft Word. Okay, so selepas kamu refer to one paper, you nak cite paper tersebut, then gunakan cara ini. Okay, so selepas course ini, okay, go to the library website, download the software atau pergi the Mendeley software, download this software, install dalam Microsoft Word kamu, okay, then start your literature review, okay, kerana dia akan menjimatkan a lot of masa belajar, okay, kalau kamu master this tool, okay. So saya dapati in our library website, so there is a tutorial section atau slide atau video, okay, yang tunjukkan bagaimana cara untuk gunakan this EndNote. Okay, dia sangat senang lah di sini, okay, bukan susah. Okay, so selain daripada this dua tool tadi, okay, so kamu boleh refer to this Google Scholar untuk dapatkan paper yang sesuai. Selain daripada library lah, okay, kamu boleh dapat daripada online database library ni, atau kamu boleh gunakan Google Scholar atau ResearchGate. So there are a lot of website. You can actually download all those journal paper, okay, for you to refer. Okay. So once you have done your literature search, okay, you have identified the problem, then you have to formulate the research question, okay, for your research work, okay. So di sini, okay, so we have first, okay, so we have actually specified the problem, okay. Then the problem itu, kamu perlu narrow down the scope, okay, to specify the concern or the issue in the problem. Okay, mungkin problem itu terlalu besar. Okay, so kamu perlu actually focus, okay, on just one small issue in that problem. Okay, so daripada situ, okay, so kamu perlu turn, okay, what you want to know into a question. Okay, which we call it formulate the research question lah. Okay, then cuba answerkan question tersebut. Okay, adakah boleh answer tak? Okay, walaupun kamu belum start your research work, maybe from your literature review, so you have an idea. Okay, so what will be the outcome that you are going to achieve lah? Okay, at the end of your research work. Okay, then kenapa kita perlu pastikan the question is answerable? Because we want to make sure that, okay, the question is not too broad or too narrow, okay, and within your ability and within the time frame, okay, because you only conduct this project for 2 semester saja, okay, so pastikan kamu boleh jawab soalan ini dalam masa yang diberikan, okay, juga dengan alat yang diberikan lah, okay, pastikan you have that equipment in the lab to solve this question. Alright, okay, so okay, so dua bahagian di sini, okay, di mana kamu perlu include in your this chapter 1, okay, which is the research question and hypothesis lah, right? Okay, so from your literature review, okay, so then kamu dah dapatkan research gap kamu. Selepas kamu dah dapatkan research gap kamu, then you can formulate the research question. Okay, then for each of the question yang kamu formulate di sini, okay, cuba dapatkan the answer. Okay, yang kamu fikirkan lah, okay, will be, right? Then throughout the research work, so kamu akan provide the evidence, okay, to justify that this answer is correct lah, right? Okay, so this is how you actually formulate the research question and provide a hypothesis, okay, of your research question. Okay. So once you have the question, okay, then you can formulate your objective. Okay, so use your question, okay, to drive the objective of your research work. Okay, so dalam objective di sini, so you dah tahu the question, okay, which is the purpose, okay. So that means dalam objektif di sini, okay, so kamu perlu describe the purpose, include the purpose of your research work. Okay, so basically the objective must be tally with your maybe some of you, okay, you can actually refer to your research title. Okay, daripada situ you get the idea bagaimana kamu nak formulate your research objective. Okay, then daripada research objective tu, so kamu juga perlu berikan okay, apakah aktiviti? Adakah you want to investigate the problem using the experimental method ke, okay, numerical method ke, okay, atau site investigation ke, kamu boleh include dalam your research objective. Okay, so pastikan your objective is specific and measurable, okay, and realistic untuk dapat dicapaikan. So untuk mencapaikan ketiga-tiga kriteria di sini, so that means the research question is very important. Okay, so use your research question, okay, to formulate your research objective di sini. Okay, alright. Okay. So ini example, okay, bagaimana kamu boleh formulate your research objective, alright, okay. So tadi, okay, dalam funding project ni okay, so di mana pelajar ni perlu investigate, okay, the application of this impermeable barrier to control the pollutant transport kan, okay. So that means okay, the objective, okay, you can actually relate to your research title di sini, okay. So that means kita perlu investigate okay, the behavior of this contaminant transport in the presence of the double vertical impermeable barrier. Okay. So dalam objektif di sini, so kamu juga boleh include the variable that you need to consider in your study. Alright. So that means the second objective, okay, yang pelajar saya letakkan di sini is, okay, more specific lah. So kita nak investigate the influence, okay, by varying the soil conditions saja. So mungkin dia ada banyak, okay, factors that will affect this method in controlling the pollutant transport. Okay, so tetapi your scope of work di sini kita hanya fokus on the soil conditions saja. Right? So that means in your objective it must be specific lah. Alright. Okay. Okay. So I think the research objective ni, okay, I think masa mungkin tak cukup saya nak habiskan lah, okay, the works di sini, so saya takkan go through this survey. Alright, okay. So at the end, okay, after you have complete your research objective, so you need to actually state, okay, atau highlight the significance of your study. Okay, so that means you have to give, okay, the or provide evidence, okay, to convince, okay, the panel kenapa kamu nak jalankan research di sini. Okay, so biasanya if you want to conduct a research, we need to get the funding lah. Okay, so that means bahagian sini sangat important. If you want to get someone to fund your project, so you must actually give, okay, what kind of the contribution, okay, of your project lah. Okay, alright. So that means to convince, okay, the organizer ke atau funding organizer ke, okay, to fund your project di sini. Okay, so dalam this significance of the study, okay, so that means kamu perlu actually state apakah contribution in your study, okay, termasuk contribution to the new knowledge, okay, atau dia dapat improve, okay, atau it can actually brought benefit to the environments, okay, atau ekonomi, okay, atau nation or human life or in the field of industry. Okay, so that means this significance, okay, also you have to actually relate to the element in the infrastructures. Okay, so dari segi environment tu mungkin dia akan relate to the water reticulation system. Okay, mungkin environment tu dia akan relate to the sewage. Okay, so dari segi ekonomi itu dia mungkin dia akan relate to the construction of the road, okay, mungkin dia akan relate to the more effectiveness, okay, in the drainage system ke, okay. So try to actually relate, okay, the significance of your study, okay, dengan the element in the infrastructure. Okay, mungkin antara kamu yang menjalankan projek yang related to the structures lah. Okay, for those yang bukan structures tu, okay, try to relate it. Okay, dalam bidang infrastructure engineering ni. Okay, so ini example. Okay, bagaimana kamu nak actually highlight the significance of your project di sini ya. Alright, okay. So first, kamu perlu state the objective of your research. Okay, for example, ini title of the student, effect of fertilization to groundwater contamination. So dia nak study jika kita ada kawasan paddy field, so you have the irrigation and you have the fertilization kan. So fertilizer dia akan masuk ke dalam groundwater system. Okay, so dia nak tahu the effect kan di sini. Okay, so first dalam your significance of the project, so dia dah letakkan the objective of the study, okay. Dan di sini dia katakan, okay, by conduct this research work, okay, so the outcome of this study dapat, okay, managing and protecting the groundwater resources. Okay, so that means they have the contribution to the environment lah, okay, and also to the nation because protecting the groundwater resources, okay. Then dari segi economic and also the social benefit, okay. So by knowing the effect of fertilization, okay, so kita boleh control, okay, the groundwater contamination, so that dia akan dapat reduce the cost of treating the groundwater contamination. Okay, right. So that means you reduce the cost di sini, so dari segi ekonomi dia dapat contribute lah. Okay, then also reduce the risk of consuming contaminated water. Okay, so that is a contribution to the human life di sini, right? Okay. And finally, okay, so this research able to provide, okay, or improve the knowledge, okay, to the environmental engineer. So di mana mereka dapat manage and plan the utilization of the water resources dengan lebih efektif lah, okay, especially involved in the agricultural activity. Right. Okay. Okay. So I think, okay, so yang significant tu, so cuba dapatkan the significance of the study later on lah. Alright. And finally, you have to write down the scope of your study as well. Okay, so the scope means apakah boundary of your study. Okay, so that means you have identified a problem just now. Okay, so maybe the problem is too big to investigate. Okay, so you have to chop the problem into a smaller pieces. Okay, then only you have to look at bahagian yang dah chop down to the smaller pieces tu lah. Okay, so cara kamu define, okay, your problem itu, so kamu boleh atau narrowing the scope of your works di sini, kamu perlu tuliskan dalam the scope of your study. Okay, so that means dalam scope of study, so you will have to specify the constraint, okay, specify the area of your study, okay, due to the constraint of time and also the resources lah di sini. Okay. So dalam scope of your study, kamu juga perlu include the method, okay, used to conduct the study. Alright. Okay. Okay. So this is one of the example how you write down the scope of your study. Alright. So di sini, okay. So pelajar akan gunakan numerical modeling. Okay. So dia perlu specify apakah jenis software yang akan digunakan di sini. Alright. So dalam study ini, so dia akan evaluate, okay, this is objective lah. Okay, the effectiveness of this formidable barrier to control the pollutant transport. Okay, then bagaimana dia nak evaluate the effectiveness di sini? So dia akan look at the parameter. Okay, so di sini, so dia dah actually narrow down, okay, the investigation. Okay, so effectiveness it can be very broad kan? Okay, tetapi di sini dia katakan, so dia hanya look at the hydraulic conductivity, okay, one variable, okay, depth of the barrier, 2 variable and the distance, 3 variable sahaja. Okay, so they have already narrowed down the investigation into only 3 variables. Okay, so ini sangat important, okay, in your research work, okay, because this will actually use to plan, okay, your research work, okay, for the time and also the resources given to you lah. Right? Okay, so once you have complete all those components, okay, then you can prepare your research proposal di sini. Okay, so dalam your research proposal, so kamu perlu include the problem statement, okay, and also include the literature review in brief, okay, apakah question yang kamu nak jawab, okay, so apakah objective, okay, of your research work, and also what is the significance of your research that you want to conduct, and finally the scope of your research work. Okay, so all of this will actually form the research proposal. Okay, and once you have your research proposal done, okay, so normally we will submit, okay, to a funding organizer lah. Okay, so they will evaluate your proposal, okay, and when it's approved, so they will actually give you the money for you to conduct the research. Tetapi for your FYP, okay, so walaupun kita perlu actually prepare for your research proposal, tetapi kita akan gunakan research proposal ni bukan untuk funding, okay, so you can make use of this research proposal, okay, and convert it, okay, into the first chapter of your thesis. Okay, so dalam first chapter of your thesis, so kita akan include the research background, the problem statement, research question and objective, the scope of your research, and also significance of your research. Okay, so those bahagian component is actually included in your research proposal. Tetapi di sini kita akan use it to form your chapter 1 dalam thesis kamu. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation today. So hopefully you can get an idea, all right, how to start your research lah. Okay, after this talk. So I think itu saja. So I open to the floor untuk Q&A lah jika ada sebarang soalan.
Okay, para pelajar boleh tanya soalan. Sama ada on mic cakap ataupun type pun boleh juga di ruang chat.
Mungkin saya dah tanya soalan tadi about your how to define the method. Mungkin semua dah have an idea di sini. Okay.
Ada yang tanya soalan lagi ke?
Okay.
Student?
Or you can type in the chat box if you want. If you don't want to ask, you can type in the chat box.
Hello sir.
Yes, Kadik, yes.
Nak tanya yang for scope of study, kan ada variables tu sir. Is it mesti 3 ataupun depends on limitation yang kita nak letak for the scope of study?
Normally the scope there is no, you cannot actually quantify. Mesti ada 1 ke 2 ke atau 3 di sini Scope of work is actually you have to evaluate based on your the masa yang diberikan, okay, alat, okay, yang diberikan, okay. For example, if your work is actually using a survey, okay, so you have to make sure that, okay, within this 2 semester itu, alright, so whether you can complete your works or not. Okay, for example, maybe some of the survey, so you need to achieve, okay, a minimum, okay, number of samples, okay, but because due to that, okay, masa yang diberikan tu terlalu singkat tu, then in your scope of work, so you have to actually specify, okay, so for the survey, so saya akan limit 50 sampel saja, okay, kenapa, okay, then you have to justify lah, adakah 50 cukup tak in your study, alright, so this is how you define the scope of your works lah, alright. Dan bukan you mesti ada 3 scope di situ atau 4 scope di situ.
Okay. Faham sah. Thank you.
Sama. Ada lagi? So untuk pelajar yang akan menjalankan the experiment, because just now when I do the survey, I found out 75% of viewer mungkin akan jalankan the lab works di sini, alright. So saya nak you all pastikan, okay, mungkin kamu boleh discuss dengan your supervisor in advance, okay. Tentukan apakah jenis equipment yang nak gunakan dalam lab tu. So pastikan equipment tu kita ada. Sometimes kita mungkin equipment dah rosak ke, okay. Jika rosak kita perlu maintenance, okay, memperbaiki tu. Alright, then you can actually ask the technician, because sometimes it take time, maybe a semester to repair the alat supaya kamu boleh gunakan. Right? So if you involve the lab work, okay, try to visit the lab, okay, mungkin in the first few weeks di sini, okay. So tanya the technician, okay, di mana alat tersebut, okay, mungkin kamu boleh start gunakan alat tersebut lah. Alright. Then also if you want to conduct the lab work, okay, so kamu perlu isikan borang untuk safety, safety and health di situ, evaluation di situ lah. Okay, so this is my advice to you lah, siapa-siapa yang nak jalankan the lab work lah selepas ini.
Okay. Ada soalan lagi ke? Macam mana Dr. Kuan?
Ya, kalau tak ada, then kita boleh stop di sinilah.
Okay. So, terima kasih banyak kepada Dr. Kuan di atas taklimat yang sangat detail. So, kami berharap para pelajar dapat memanfaatkan segala ilmu lah. Diingatkan sekali lagi, pelajar untuk tick di UFuture still available 50 minutes after habis session ni lah, which is around 12:15. Please tick di future tu. Okay. So, bagi menutupi bengkel kita pada hari ini, kita sediakan dengan tasbih kifarah dan surah Al-Asr. Okay, baik. Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan terima kasih sekali lagi kepada Dr. Kuan.
Okay, thank you semua dan April. Okay, see you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
See you,
sir.
Dr.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.